welcome back to Black, White, and the Grays. I'm Kylie, I'm the farmer here at Dragonfly Station. This is our market garden. We are a small farm located in Central Oregon in growing zone 3. We also have a frost risk all year round, which can make growing things a little bit challenging, but I've learned to adapt and it works out pretty well. So I'm actually in our market garden. It'll be our second year growing in this space. It's a pretty new area and we've learned a lot along the way. It was also our first year cut flower farming and market gardening. So we have learned a lot, and that's what I want to talk to you about in today's video, is all about all the mistakes we've made and how we're going to better improve them this coming year in 2021. One of the biggest mistakes that I think any gardener or grower can make is with irrigation, your water system. My biggest one was not putting it in soon enough. I was using a hose and a regular sprinkler and it just was not cutting it. I was moving the sprinkler around all the time and it just did not go over well. I think having irrigation system in place pre-planting would have saved me a lot of heartache and it would have saved me a lot of time and energy as well. It was just, we eventually got it and the timer was always off. We have our irrigation for our market garden hooked onto a second well on the property and it has a ton of sediment in it. And with that, we haven't been able to run the sprinklers on the timer we want to run. We went through so many timers last year, it was ridiculous. This year we're trying a different method as far as that goes, and we'll share about that more as the season goes on. Second one, this could actually be the biggest one. This could actually be, yep, I grew and made this garden way too big, way too fast. We expanded from our 900 square foot family garden to a 14,000 square foot market garden in a year. That's a lot. And about a quarter of the way through, at the beginning of like this time last year, I was like, oh, we'll just get 6 beds in and we'll do it. Okay, well then got the 6 beds in and it just kept going because we just kept getting it in. But if I would have slowed down and just had the 6 beds, I could have, I don't know. We had a lot of beds and it ended up working out in a way where we had enough to sell to our customers, which worked out. But I think we still could have made it work with the 6 beds, but hey, you live and you learn, right? Now this year all these beds are going to be in working order. And a lot of them were taken out by weeds, which is my third biggest mistake of 2020. Weeds. I let them get out of control. And I don't know if it was necessarily a mistake or if it was just like the mistake I said before this, where we just grew too fast. We grew too fast. I couldn't keep up with the weeds. We ended up redoing this side of the garden and it turned out beautiful. And this year, we will be doing it throughout the rest of the garden the same way. You can go back and look at some of our older videos, but I'm telling you, it was a lot of hard work and it could have been prevented, to say the least. Our fourth biggest mistake was planting things and not actually necessarily knowing where we were going to sell them at. This year I have restaurants lined up, I have markets lined up, and still could be better. We could still have a few more restaurants, we could still have a few more market days, but you know what? We're gonna go this year in better than what we went in last year, and that, my friends, is a step in the right direction. Goats just got their dinner and they're still crybabying, and our goats definitely do not need more than what they're supposed to get, if you catch my drift. Anyways, that's our fourth biggest mistake, is not having a place to sell before we actually had the crops ready to sell. And I've heard that before and I just didn't listen. I've heard market gardeners say, no, and it's intimidating as a first year market garden. You're like, well, I'm just gonna go set up a stand at the end of my driveway, which I did. It did not do great. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It did not do great. I think if we put away a little more time and energy into it, maybe, but at that point I just was done. I didn't want to continue doing that, and there were other ways that we had driven our farm stand into town and made way more. So it was just way more worth it to not set it up at the end of the road than to just have a certain day and time that we were going to town and just do that. I was trying to set it up every single day. That would be mistake number 5, is the farm stand at the end of the driveway. Trying to set it up every single day and keep it stocked fresh was incredibly difficult. One, it was a cooler, so we were having to keep ice in it, ice packs and stuff. That was not good. It was just a big fat failure. So having times and dates set up pre-season is what we're gonna go for this year. This year we're planning on going to town once a month, at least for now, and then also having some events here on the farm. Plus wholesaling, which is going to be our biggest thing. It's a couple times a week deliveries, and that'll keep us busy. I'm out in our cut flower garden. This was, it produced a ton of flowers for us. We planted a ton of wildflowers and bachelor buttons and baby's breath. We had a bunch of sunflowers. We were able to get quite a few bouquets off of this with it just kind of letting it go because it was just last priority. The priority was the produce for me last year. This year, they've kind of equaled out because I realized I have such a love for growing flowers and I want them there. They were more profitable for me than vegetables. And so now it might be, the tables may have turned now that we have restaurants that we're selling produce to, but the flowers last year were way more profitable than the produce. It is a weedy disaster. The weeds are up to my waist, up even higher than that, and they're just crazy. We got to come in here and mow it down. There is some yarrow I planted, which yarrow grows wildly here, but I planted some, like the Colorado mix from Baker Creek. I have some more coming. But I planted those in here, so we'll go around that. So the cut flower garden was definitely mistake number 5. Eventually we just had to let her go. Also, I grew a bunch of this whole row behind me, where you see the tallest things, that was all cosmos. So we have a frost risk all year round, which I've told you 1,000 times, but you're gonna hear it 1,000 more times because it is true. But some years we can go without a frost. Like not last summer, but the summer before, no frost. It was glorious. This year, last year, did not go with that. We had very mini frosts. Very mini. But this year, this is gonna be changing. Mark my word. This cut flower garden is going to be bursting with sunflowers, and I cannot wait until my Johnny's orders arrives and I can show it to you and show you all the flowers and all the things and all the things. I don't know. The sunflowers got my heart. I told you about poppies. I love poppies. I do. But sunflowers. They are one of the first flowers I grew that did really well here. They can withstand frost and they can get down to like about 17 degrees. I found is when they like are deep. They can get hit and you can tell, but 15 degrees, dead. I wonder if it's because we direct sow them. I wonder if the ones that are direct sowed are more hardy, but I'm going to start them in a seed tray this year, some of them, just to get a jump start, so that way we have blooms in early July instead of mid to in July. I'm hoping to get a couple extra weeks out of them. This is just a hop in time. I need to make a mental note to not film it this time because the UPS man, the school bus, it's just a hopping time of day. Those are my biggest, hugest mistakes that I can think of at the top of my head. I'm sure there's many more, but this is what I have learned thus far with market gardening for the first year. I'm sure there'll be many more to come, and you will all be witness to it because this whole year will be on the YouTubes. Last year it was like, I think I started in late June. Yep, we can only go up. The goals for this year. 1, it's a big goal, but I think it can be done, is to hire an employee. A part-time employee that can do deliveries, that can help us out on the farm, and it would be huge for us. It's like it's kind of scary, but I know we need it to be successful. I can't do this by myself again. I need an employee. I rewatched one of my videos the other day from the end of last year. It was just embarrassing. It was embarrassing. I was so drained, and I remember that feeling. I feel energized now, but I can easily, when I watch that video, I go back to that feeling and it's awful, and I don't want to experience that again. It took my joy of gardening away, and I never want that to happen because I love it so much, and it's where I connect with God the most, to be honest. I just connect with God when my hands are in the soil. That is one of our biggest, loftiest goals, is to hire somebody on. And I did a video about the NRCS High Tunnel Initiative program that we've applied for. We didn't get it last year. We applied again this year, and there's 2 chances to get it, and it would go directly behind me. And if we have the high tunnel, game changer for the farm, but also I have to have an employee. At that point, I might need a full-time employee. It's going to be a lot of work. If I had somebody buddy up with me and do this, big help. Another thing is to get the irrigation and the timer system down, because I told you about the irrigation, but I don't think I told you about the timer. So we had to manually switch them. Yeah. Like switch the zones because I couldn't get a timer with the sediment from our well to work. So that is a priority. We have to get it on, we have to be automated to get the timers set and ready to not have to do it manually. I mean, obviously there's going to be sprinkler heads that break or lines that burst or something weird happens, especially with our temperatures, highs and lows. So I'm expecting that, but we need it to be where we're not changing sprinkler zones every freaking hour. And then another really awesome goal at Trey, we are both set on this, is we're going to get all of our compost. We ordered our compost as we could afford it last year, and this year we just got to suck it up and buy it all at once, and the wood chips also for the walkways. And we are going to either rent a tractor, borrow our French tractor, or get our handyman to do it, and it'll just be a day or a weekend probably, or maybe a week of us laying down cardboard. We have a ton of it all over. We got to lay down the cardboard, put the compost in and just have him drive around the garden before the beds are really good this year and place the compost. That way we're not wheelbarrowing buckets in, because we do not have a tractor, and we did do wheelbarrowing, and we do have a lawnmower with a lawnmower trailer, but you're still shoveling, which is a great workout, but when you have a lot of other jobs you got to get done, it's kind of a burden. And throughout the year when we're flipping beds, our gorilla carts and lawnmower carts and wheelbarrows will be just fine. Our first go around the tractor is going to be a major lifesaver. So there we have it. Those are our five biggest mistakes. Was it 5? I don't know. Those were our biggest mistakes of this year. Hopefully we do not repeat any of them, and hopefully we get all of our big goals and ambitions met this year. So I thank you guys for following along with us. Be sure to subscribe, and to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps us out, and it really tells YouTube that you like our content. So thanks for being here, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.